Hi, beautiful souls. I hope you guys are having an amazing day. So, this is podcast number 4. And I'm just going to start out with this quote, okay? It's from the Bible, okay? And it talks about spiritual warfare. Ephesians 6:12 states, right? For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Right? So this verse, right, emphasizes that the battle Christians face is not merely physical, right, but also spiritual. Uh, it suggests that believers contend with spiritual forces of darkness and evil, right? I completely agree with this, okay? And that's just based on my personal experience, okay? And from what I've read, from what I've seen. Now let me just go into the Bible a little bit. I don't, first of all, I think that, a religion has been used for, many, many years, right? To control people. Okay. And of course, the Bible is a huge part of it, right? As it's used in churches. And so religious texts, I would say, in religion, they would be the first ones to get attacked. They would be changed, and they were changed. In history, they were altered, right? Also, there are many different ways of how you can go about interpreting them, right? So you can misinterpret a lot of the things that are there. And also, of course, of course, there's some truth to them. Absolutely, right? But I would say that, if there wasn't, then nobody would just accept it, right? Nobody would read it. So, and that's where the deception lies, I believe that, in order to find your truth, it has to be personal. You have to search for it. It is not just going to be given to you on a plate, like in the Bible, for example, right? You're going to have to find your own truth, and it's not linear. It's gonna take you sometimes almost your entire lifetime to get to the truth. And that's when your personal, spiritual awakening will happen, your enlightenment, right? Your realization of the truth, right? But in the meantime, you're going to, as you go through life, as you move through life, you're gonna encounter all kinds of different people that will kind of they will be like drops on a rock, right? And we have this expression, right? Is that as the drops fall on the rock, right? Every drop eventually kind of sharpens the rock. So anyways, so that's kind of what happens with you, right? Is in your personal journey, right? As you encounter people, they will kind of more and more and more, they will be like each person will be like a little piece of the puzzle, right? And then eventually, somewhere along the way, you'll see the big picture. You will finally see what the entire puzzle looks like, right? And so I think that's exactly what happens. Maybe not in everyone's lifetime, right? But for some of us, that it's meant to happen, then it will. Or if you're really searching for that truth, right? Anyway, so yes, back to the Bible, right? And back to, I do think that it has been manipulated, and Dr. Asher also, it's a great read that, I've read a book on him. I've read a couple of his books, and one of them is like The Soul Revolution, right? Dr. Asher. And then another one I think is The Greater Exodus, right? And so it's he talks about the Bible and how it has been altered, and he gives like clear and concise examples, and like his book is basically all about that. He like goes into different sections of the Bible and gives you proof that it has been altered. Anyway, so I don't think that you need proof, because look, guys, if the religious text hasn't been altered, then we would have a completely different world, okay? We would have a world with spiritually awakened and aware individuals, okay? But we don't, not yet at least, right? And of course, it has been happening slowly, and it is happening right now. The I guess once one person awakens, right, then they become like a light beacon. They shine the light and they awaken everyone else, right? Or whoever wants to like kind of follow the light, right? And so it's like a domino effect, right? So yeah. Anyway, so that's just about that, right? About religion, also, and the Bible, right? Also, just to say something about the Bible, I think also the Bible has been used as a tool, like kind of like a predicting programming, right? I don't know if you guys are aware of this term, right? But it's kind of like, for example, when we watch movies, right? So, they kind of, the controllers of this world, right? The rulers, the elites, they want to control the human consciousness, right? And predictive programming, that's exactly how they do it, okay? So I believe the Bible in a way has been used as merely another tool which uses predictive programming, okay? You get people to fear something, right? You tell them a story, you get them to fear that story, right? And then place their emotions into it, right? By creating a lot of fear, right? And strong emotions. Basically, whatever we fear, we attract to ourselves, right? So this is exactly what happens. Okay, so I think the Bible is just another tool, kind of like the movies, right? They do the same thing in the movies. They show you what they want, to happen, right? With everyone, right? With people, right? With humanity. They want us. They show us what they want to bring forth, and basically, when we watch it, we kind of get scared of it, right? And it creates intense emotions. We get scared. We don't want it to happen, and what we don't want, ironically, what we don't want to happen is we make it happen eventually, right? So where we place our emotions into, right, our energy into, what we focus on, we eventually attract, right? So that's exactly what is going on here, right? So that's why I think, that's exactly what's happening, right? Anyway, so now, right, we will go to the religious warfare, right? And so the religious warfare, right, is that our controllers, what they also use, right, is symbology. Symbology, right? So symbology is used all around the world, and a lot of corporations have the logo 666 in it. I just remember I was in the car and I was driving, right? And I just crossed the Bay Bridge, right? And I saw a huge billboard, right? And on that billboard there was a woman, and she stuck out her hand, right? And she had horns, right? She was showing like two horns, right? And it was a Google billboard. Anyway, so if you pay attention, that if you notice, like, corporations like Pepsi, Disney, all kinds of like all a lot of like big corporations, right? Their corporate logo includes some kind of a devil sign, right? Either 666, right? 666, by the way, guys, can also relate to the human consciousness, okay? And so that's exactly what kind of they're saying. Also, they're trying to instill fear, right, in your human consciousness, right? So basically, like, ultimately, right, the effect of seeing the devil logo, right, or the hell sign on an individual's subconscious mind, right, will depend on their unique beliefs, experiences, and psychological makeup, right? So it's crucial to approach these symbols with sensitivity and respect for others' perspectives and beliefs, right? So, with that said, right, for individuals who have religious or cultural beliefs that associate the devil or hell with evil, sin, punishment, or fear, encountering such symbols may elicit feelings of unease, fear, or discomfort, okay? So, these symbols can tap into deep seated cultural or religious conditioning, activating subconscious fears or anxieties related to concepts of damnation or supernatural entities, okay? Um, and so for kind of so if you're seeing this all the time, unconsciously, it's like I talked to you, right, about this. I already talked to you about this, right? It elicits a fear-based response, right? So it keeps you in a certain state of mind, right? It keeps you in a fear-based state, right? Which is ultimately what they want. They want us to experience. They want us to stay in low vibrational mode, right? They want to keep us in a fear-based mode. They want us to watch certain things. They want us to listen to certain things, right? They want us to read certain things. So our vibrations are low. And so we don't ultimately reach that higher state of being or enlightenment, okay? And that's what it's all about, okay? You know, and so yeah, hopefully this will kind of bring more. Hopefully this discussion will bring more awareness to you about this, okay? Oh yeah, back to the energy drinks, right? Another thing that you can notice is that, yeah, supposedly they're energy drinks, but look what's inside them. You know, artificial sugar, right? And all kinds of just nasty crap, right? That is not supposed to go into your body, right? It's just extremely, extremely bad stuff, right? You don't want that in your body. In fact, drinking too many of those can even kill you, right? So, once again, right? When there is a logo, an anti-human logo, right, on something, right? Be it Disney, right? With their anti-family, anti woman and men, with their transgender agenda, right? Or be it Nestle, or really a lot of other corporations that have that logo, you best believe that they're not going to give you quality food, that they don't produce quality food. Most of their stuff has artificial hormones, right? It's laced with, all kinds of different colorings, all kinds of pesticides, all kinds of addictive substances that you don't want in your body, that are terrible for you, that will eventually make you extremely unhealthy, that will alter your hormones, that will make you think a certain way, so Yeah, just pay attention to that, right? Too. It's not just the logos, right? But it's what's behind those logos. You know, what are they producing? What are they doing, right? What kinds of things are they creating? You know, how do they treat their workers, right? How do they produce their, what is the cost, right, of producing that thing that you're going to buy, right? So anyways, so in my guys, in this blog post, right, I mean this podcast, which used to be a blog, right? I just want to talk to you about this, right? I'm gonna tell you about my spiritual awakening here a little bit more too. Anyway, so this particular podcast is called Which Side Are You On? Okay, because like I said in the beginning, right? It is a spiritual battle. Okay, this world, whether you want to believe it or not, it is more spiritual than it is physical. Okay, and just because you can't see it, then you, it doesn't mean that you never will. Okay, you just have to keep an open mind and you know, try to seek the truth. Okay, don't accept what is already given to you, right? Like religion and the Bible. Seek your own truth, and eventually you will get there, and you will see. Okay, you will have the eyes to see that it is a spiritual battle. Anyway, so I'm gonna go into my podcast. Okay, so I have had enough. Defeated, done, and at the deep end of the pool, I was sitting on a humongous mountain overlooking the Golden Gate Bridge. The sight was beautiful, but I was too worn out by life to enjoy the scenery. As I sat there deep in meditation, a voice, my own voice, perhaps, asked me a question. Which side do you choose to be on? The good or the bad? Without hesitation, I immediately thought back, and the former was my obvious choice. I want to be on the good side, and so you shall be. From that day forward, my life began to magically improve. I let go of the fear that was driving me and let my spirit take the lead, and that turned out to be the best choice that I ever made. Some would call it spiritual awakening. The journey of my spiritual awakening began, as it is a journey. Years later, I'm still on it and still in alliance with my spirit, and that ultimately led to the better good for everyone. As I did more of what aligned with my spirit, my pace accelerated, and I became happier um, and more fulfilled. I made a commitment to walk in the light and to think before I acted. Were my actions aligned with who I was, or were they made out of fear and patience? A lot of people are suffering because they haven't chosen a side. They think they can serve both masters, the light and the dark. You can't continue to live in your ego, aka your dark side, and be happy. Making a commitment to pick a side and sticking to it isn't that difficult. In fact, every decision that you make from then on will be easy and will feel good because it will align with your higher self. You will feel more empowered and will have more energy to do the things that you wish to do. When you do pick a side, think about your actions and how they will impact you. In your decisions. I will give you just an example of how your actions are important and they make a huge difference. They're more important than you realize. So let's just say you're an investor, right? Are you an investor? If you aren't, then you should be. It's making money while you sleep, so why shouldn't you invest? However, with this too, you need to be deliberate in your actions, especially at a time where many organizations, corporations are so corrupt that they literally get away with murder and get honorary awards for it. As most of you already know, a lot of corporations exploit people, children abroad by forcing them to work in poor conditions for long hours and with extremely low pay. These same corporations blame us for damaging the environment when in fact they are the ones causing the most damage. When confronted, they pay a measly fine and continue doing what they were doing. So with that said, you need to be deliberate with how you invest and into which companies. Yeah, a lot of money can be gained by investing in the wrong corporations at this time. But think about what you're doing. Is it a company that will eventually contribute to the enslavement of you and your children? Or is it a truly decent company that, through its actions, shows that it cares about our health, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Do your research and invest accordingly. You can no longer hope that your vote matters. However, you can bet that your money speaks volumes, so be loud with your money and support those that support us too. So, guys, conscious investing is just one of the ways that you can walk the path of light. There are many more, and I will list them a little bit later, okay? When you walk in the light, you will go be like the light and embody the light. There will be no questioning which side you're on. But it's not about showing off, it is about leading by example. It's about shining a light that's within you to brighten the path for others so they too can see the path to their own light. People will look at you in amazement and ask for your advice, confess their biggest sins, and be drawn to you like a moth to a flame. Now, why should you pick the right side when the dark side often offers more money and material possessions than you can imagine? Because, in the grander scheme of things, your chosen side is your one way ticket out of this matrix, okay? Which is a system basically created on lies, right? I know Elon Musk, right? He says that we're living in a simulation, which is the matrix, right? Someone else basically saying that the matrix is like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen the movie The Matrix, right? But yeah, that's what I'm talking about here, right? But really, it's just a system that, in a way, we've kind of created. We didn't really create it, but we supported basically by we were manipulated into supporting this system, okay? And it's not doing us any good. It's not serving us, basically, okay? But a lot of us are so ingrained into it, right? Into this illusion or into this elusive matrix system. Kind of like we become the agents, right? Because we've invested way too much time, way too many resources into it. Like, for example, think of a doctor, right, that went to medical school and, they've put way too much time, right? They've spent way too much time studying, right? Way too much money, right? Now they're in debt, perhaps. So they've ingrained themselves into this matrix system, basically, right? So now they're kind of like stuck in it. So they will do anything in their power to kind of support it and to justify their actions, even if they're wrong, right? Like during COVID. Anyways, I'm not gonna go into that now because I want to keep this kind of short. Anyway, so this is the matrix, right? Out of this lunatic wheel of reincarnation, right? Because some say, right, that we are, because we are living in the 3D, because a lot of us kind of, we've if you're living in a low vibrational state, when you die, basically you'll get reincarnated back, and you'll just continue this wheel of reincarnation. Kind of like the cycle of abuse, right? Or kind of like Honestly, really, what I've noticed, right, guys, is that you can be stuck in a lot of different cycles, right? Like the cycle of abuse, right, or the rat race, right? They call it the rat race, right? You can be stuck in that cycle too, right? So there are many different cycles that we can get stuck on, and one of those is the wheel of reincarnation. We can keep on coming back here until we learn or we get to the truth and free ourselves. That's because that's how I believe we free ourselves, right? Is that when we finally get to the truth, we and raise our frequency, right? And kind of like in the Bible, we but anyways, I'm not gonna go into this here too much either. But it all comes down to raising your frequency and aligning yourself with source energy, right? With the highest source of energy, or the universe, right? And if we're able to do that in our lifetime, then I do not think that we'll be coming back to Earth. I think we'll go back to source once we die. Okay. So these are just my thoughts. And some believe it too, right? I believe there was a book written on that too. They call it like the prison planet, right? Some believe that we are on a prison planet, right? And kind of like the wheel of incarnation is a trap. Okay, I believe that too, actually. Okay. Anyway, so back to the podcast, the blog, right? So what are some ways that you can walk in the light and live a happy and a more fulfilling life? Steer clear of people that bring you down, that have shown themselves to be dishonest, ungrateful, and mean or sarcastic. Judge people based on their actions. How do they speak about others? About themselves? Do they support you when you need support or disappear? Are they kind or do they kindly criticize you all the time, chipping away at your confidence? Once you're getting to know someone, pay attention to what they say about themselves. If you listen, truly listen, then you will have all of your answers really fast. People always tell you who they are. And if that someone doesn't align with who you are, who you want to be, then leave and find the right match, even if it takes you a long time. Walking in the light means staying single until you meet a romantic interest that feels right in every way, physically and intuitively. Paying attention is key. Refrain from getting into an accidental relationship that kind of just happened because you felt horny and just wanted to get laid, or because you were lonely and needed company, or because you felt like you were financially unstable and this person seemed like your knight in shining armor. Listen to your emotions before you get into a romantic relationship. Is it telling you that it's not the right person? It's probably worth paying attention to. The wrong people will dim our light and even suck us back into the matrix where we will begin to feel lost, depressed and anxious again. So find someone that's walking in the light too. It doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. This applies to all relationships in your life, and they all make a difference. I will give you an example of this. I recently had the privilege of working with a therapist, and it was one of the best work relationships that I've ever had. She's a beautiful mother of two, hardworking, and a very positive woman. We created courses together, I wrote blogs for her, and did a ton of editing work on her website. Our relationship worked so well because we served the same master. Find someone like that, and almost immediately you will become a greater force to be reckoned with. Alone, we're super powerful. But together, and working for the greater good, we're explosive. So don't settle for anyone that's not on the right side yet. And I'm saying yet because some people aren't necessarily evil. They just need more time to awaken to their true and light selves and pick the right path. And that simply requires a greater awareness and more time. The difference between evil people and people that haven't awakened yet is that the evil people, aka psychopaths, do evil things consciously, while the unawakened people do evil things unconsciously. Thus, be aware that we can operate on the bad side, the good side, but not both. You got to choose a side. The good side represents humanity, honesty, self love, compassion, humility, empathy, grace, and service to others. While the dark side represents ego, self service, selfishness, cowardice, dishonesty, and a life of fear, anxiety, and depression. I would say that it makes no sense to choose inner hell over heaven, but so many of us pick suffering because we don't do our own thinking and simply accept what we're told. It is time to change all of that and come to light. Will you?